There's a child who has approached me and told me how they lost their father. SANTACO, NTA, why do you allow patrollers and certain operators and drivers to drag the industry down? But you allow it because you don't challenge it. Why do you write letters to the media instead of writing a letter of expulsion to the association? You are dying a slow death and you're going to die in silence like cowards. Wake up. The time is now. Two kids in one family. The other one takes from the other, steals from the other, destroys what each other or one another has. This is the story of associations that are affiliated to big institutions. This is the story where all the associations belong to SANTACO or to NTA, but they get around, they take a route that does not belong to them, they threaten a small association, and the association, the federation, the council is quiet. Hello, my name is Isaack Lesole. This is an episode on Transit Ringas. Today we want to deal with something that we have not really gotten deep into. And this is a matter that I want to take straight to SANTACO, to NTA. That how did we get here? How do we get to a space where there is a constitution and associations don't respect first your constitution and your guidelines, their own constitutions and their own guidelines, and you keep quiet? How do I know this? I know this because I'm inundated with calls from different associations complaining about them losing their roots, about them being overpowered by bigger associations. I'm inundated with calls that are saying that we have reported the matter to SANTACO, whether in the province or nationally, and nothing happens. They say the same about NTA. But what's worse is that there are bigger associations that are taking routes that belong to their own fellow members. And when they do that, sometimes they pack their bags, they move from SANTACO and they go to NTA. Or they move from NTA and go to SANTACO. Guys, Zenizela. Asikhulume le ndaba, sikhulume kahle. Today I'm here to come and tell you that we are aware, our investigations are now showing that there is a system where associations are deliberate about taking routes that don't belong to them. We are aware that there are meetings that are taking place where associations are conniving with officials ka government ukuthi soyithatha kanjani le route. Le route le is only being operated by 20 vehicles, but say phone because tena we have 1,000 vehicles. It does not belong to you. They connive, they go into a corner with a government official, they give a government official 300,000 rent, and then the process starts. A process starts where people use what they know of our government, and I want to talk about this. People know something about our government. Criminals know something about our government. They know that our government is weak. They know that law enforcement is weak, but where it shows some strength, they know that it can be bought. If it can't be bought, they know that it can be threatened. They know it. So when they do anything that's illegal, you must know that they have somebody that they can buy, or they have the strength and the power to intimidate anyone who would want to investigate them. They have mastered that. Because government has shown that it always folds when it comes to the taxi industry. And yes, the purpose of this episode is to show you that you are the reason why the taxi industry is losing its footing. And yes, you are losing your footing. You are now dependent on your power. You threatening us, and you think that because of threatening us, we must keep like that. Those who know me will tell you that I am the biggest fan of the taxi industry. But I also know that the taxi industry is not going anywhere. And even if there's an evolution in the public transport space, things are changing, the taxi industry is going to remain there for the longest time. But it needs to be straightened. The taxi industry now requires very, very strong leadership. It has moved away from the place where it was led by one person called the chairman. It requires the brains, because chairman, if you don't work with the collective, this big thing is going to collapse in your hands. It's going to collapse in your hands because you have a weak government. A weak government that can protect you from pirates, people that are just coming in to cooperate with you on the routes that you were given. You have a weak government that its own officials are able to give others duplicate permits to come and work in the same route and erode the value of what you guys have. I've spoken about that. And you have a weak government. So weak government is the reason why we're sitting where we're sitting. All of these things are happening because, Chairman, can I tell you that the passenger of today have a choice, and they are going to fight with everything to protect that right of choice, because the right to choose is my constitutional right. I'm not going to give it away. I will not give it away to a patroller, to a taxi driver. We are not going to give it away. I'm going to choose how I want to be transported, and I will pay for the mode of transport I choose. So I want us to do something different today. And siyakhuluma phela silo. Khona abanye bathi no lo ulwa ne taxi industry. Ngikhuluma manga. In fact, ngikhuluma nonsense. Because taxi industry must be saved. Now there's a concept, Chairman. Drivers, marshals, nithi nkatumsebenzi. Angithi nkatumsebenzi, they are vehicles eziphumayo ekuseni. Koletse diatswa ke di owners and employed people whose work is to say that our route is to move from Johannesburg to Sandton City. On that route, there are other vehicles that are moving. So there are rules. A vehicle that's moving from point A to point B can pick up, can drop off, can do that. All of those rules are applicable. So what the associations are doing, that they are just making sure that there's no encroachment. There's no association from another area that's coming in the same route and taking people from there. I'm sure everybody can drop off, but picking up becomes a bit of a problem if you don't belong to. We understand that concept, and well done for doing that. You ended up having to employ patrollers yourselves because you could not rely on government. Iqiniso le. Ukuthi nithenga abantu, or in fact you employed people ukuthi bazonigatela umsebenzi. When there is an institution ya government phela, ama routes phela belong to government. So government gives you the right to operate a route. And if government gives you a right to operate a route, it means that government gives you the opportunity to make revenue out of that route because you are being given a permit for you to operate that route. Inkinga ila. We understand that the people that are given this responsibility, abantu aba loyal to the association, we have something to lose if umsebenzi is taken by anybody else. See, I understand the law. But we also know that these are fearless people. Laba bangasabi. But bothuma mina. Wechairman thuma mina lapha. Siyazi ukuthi nisile nokusa. Not all of them. Khona laba who are just outright basile. Bayadelela. They have no respect for anyone, including their own passengers. Niyabazi. How do we know them? We know them because they've got a nerve of going into a private vehicle and but try to keep abantu, but no, when awakwazi ukungena kule moto, awakwazi ukuthatha lift la, awakwazi private vehicles and people that are doing lift clubs and all of that, they think that they have a right to. I don't mind when they got umsebenzi. Make sure that there's no encroachment, those that are thieving the lift, the loads, because even within the same association, khona lo ozo chontama load, it never has been. Drop this side, does not queue, and then comes this side and pick up this side. We know that there are vehicles, especially vehicles that belong to an association, more often than not, khona imoto ezihlehlayo. System we are not questioning it. That's okay. But adinayo right yokutshela ama-South Africans ukuthi bangagibeli a particular mode of transport. There's a video that's going around. That video, a patroller goes into a bus and says to the people in the bus that tell the driver should give you all your monies back because I want you guys out of here. Wait. Hey, ubani. Ngene motweni ebhasini utshela abantu ukuthi this is not the right mode of transport, the only right one it takes. We tell people right. We don't tell you these things. You do these things because there's this thing eyenzakalayo in the whole country that abantu bama-taxi banje. And it's not the truth. I know this because I work in abantu bama-taxi every day. Aba decent. Jabaz. I work with them. I've been to different associations. It's my work. I go to different associations. I speak to different chairmen. I know that there are decent people, and majority of them, in fact, majority of taxi operators are decent people because they go in there as entrepreneurs. I know that. But unalemi sulani that hides inside the taxi industry and they do every wrong thing there is to think of. So these things are not disputable. We know them. They have been communicated. They've been shown on the social media platforms. different social media platforms. Ladies have been dropped. They've been taken out of e-hailing vehicles, outside the buses. I don't know why they don't stop the train. They must go and stop a train. Guys, aninayo i-right yokutshela abantu ukuthi bakhethe yini. You don't have. Tlohelang gore direct gore na re palame eng ka nako mang. You don't have that right. And I'm saying I'm doing this episode after I have been in discussions with almost everyone. Or not everyone, in terms of associations that I've communicated with, almost every association agrees that there's no association or a patroller that has a right to tell abantu banzani MPs are. Transit Ringas is a growing tribe. But we can do this better and faster if you smash that button, subscribe, and follow us across all social media platforms. Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Follow us everywhere. Let's have a conversation. It is time. SANTACO, NTA. Why do you allow patrollers and certain operators and drivers to drag the industry down? Why are you allowing this behavior that you don't agree with, but you allow it because you don't challenge it? Why, when there is a patroller that took people out of the vehicles or private vehicles, you write a media statement and not go and chase and expel that member? Why don't you? Why don't you stand up against the reputation of the industry by individuals or associations that are acting outside the protocols? Why? Why do you allow a member who has misbehaved in another association move from another association from SANTACO and go to NTA? Why do you allow that? At what point? I know that almost every association, you have a conflict resolution desk. You have a customer, your public relations officers are dealing with passenger complaints. Let me tell you today, nobody is going to report anything to you because those that have been reported to you, guys don't do much about it. Or at least where certain things are done, because they are cross violations. So sometimes when these things are done, you don't communicate what you've done to the drivers, the patrollers, and all of that. Dade Malele, Rebecca, Theo Malele is on the NTA side, Rebecca is on the side of SANTACO. Why do you write letters to the media instead of writing a letter of expulsion to the association? Why are you guys saving associations that are dragging the industry down? Why are you keeping an association that has been found to have taken a route from another association that is still your member? Why is that association still is your member? Why is it that? To confront those that are thieving and stealing routes, because those ones that are stealing routes are the reasons why there's conflict in the taxi. Why are you keeping them? What do they have against you? Why don't you guys, there's a driver that is known to be treating passengers badly, who belongs to an association that is affiliated to you. Why don't you write to the association and say that that driver should move from this association and will never drive again? This is the reason why in the NLTA there is a requirement for vetting. Why? I'm here to come and tell you that some of the problems that the taxi industry faces is because you guys don't face and do the right things with those that belong to you. And maybe, just maybe, the reason why you don't have a right to say anything to them, is it because they believe that you're not doing anything for them? Because there are people who are asking questions and you know it. People are asking questions. What does SANTACO do for us? What does NTA do for us? Because you're a council that is supposed to be representing the interest of the taxi industry. So you are supposed to be raising policy issues. Where there are issues of law enforcement or lack there too, you guys are supposed to be identifying those things and be dealing with them from a policy point of view. But your members are losing it every day. I'm here to come and request. For as long as you continue on the trajectory of protecting the associations that are doing something wrong, you know that in your association that they've reported to you guys. I have copies of letters that came to you. That it's President. This association, this SANTACO as a council, you have all the tools to serve your members. But there are places where you do things soft gloves. That is wrong. Your children are complaining to you and can't be saved by you. What is the problem? Does it mean that you have no teeth to bite? Why is it difficult to write a letter to an association and say that we got a complaint about the driver of vehicle 12345, and this is a behavior that's been going on, and we know that this is not what you guys, you don't have capacity to deal with it. But even when you get assistance, because these things are bigger than a call center. You don't need a call center. I know, and I'm not taking anything from NTA. And NTA, I will challenge you now. Show me the number of complaints that you're getting through your national hotline. Show me the number of complaints that are coming in every day and your resolution rate. I'm going to tell you that the people are not reporting these things because they don't believe that you have the capacity to resolve them or willingness to resolve. In fact, let me tell you what committers are saying, that it is actually more dangerous for them to report these things to you because they know that when they report a matter, you're going to tell the driver and the driver will come to them. That's what they're saying. If you don't believe it, I can run a poll that shows you why people don't report things with you. They're either going to stand up against the driver or the operator, or they're just going to mind their business and continue. But they will not come to you. Those who come to you are hoping for something. You're losing it. And somebody must tell you now that you're losing it, but there's still an opportunity to change. You need to go out there and change the way you are perceived. You must be worried about the reputation. It cannot be that the taxi industry of 2026 is still viewed as the taxi industry of 1992. 1996, it's worse because it is believed that after the democratic dispensation, all that the taxi industry became a manufacturing plant of illegal firearms, of hitmen, and every wrong thing that is happening. That perception needs to be changed. But it needs to be changed by people like yourselves who are in the council and the NTA. You guys need to be working on the reputation of the industry. Don't let it. The story about the taxi industry is told by everybody else, but the taxi industry does not tell its own story properly. So we have perceptions about you, but you guys don't do anything about what we say about you. You are seen to be a dangerous industry, but latabana, you have no power over the other. As we speak now, in Mamelodi, drivers and operators are afraid to talk. In Tata, there's a place here in Rustenburg. People are afraid. And you are inundated with these things. You are sitting with all of these complaints, but you're not doing anything about it. And this is the disheartening part. You get letters, you get them. Provinces write you letters, you don't intervene. You don't intervene. You keep quiet. We need to correct the perception and the reputation of the industry. But we must hold you accountable. Don't be angry when we hold you accountable. You are the leaders. You have the right to be there because you are elected democratically. But we must be able to tell you when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You have too many calculations. I can't have people who are in a positions of leadership and they're thinking about, yeah, but you can't be too dangerous to do this when you do this because then you are in danger. You can't take such a position if you believe that you are in danger. Don't do it. I'm here to come and tell you that you don't own us. We are your passengers. The service that we're giving you, that you're giving us, is not for free. We pay for it. I wake up and I choose a taxi. Or I choose a bus. It is my choice. It is my choice, non-negotiable, that I am going to be in an e-hailing vehicle. It's not negotiable. It is not negotiable. There's a place in Tembisa. There's a place where you can get an Uber. Because you think you own us? Snacks. What you need to be focusing on is how do you better this thing. One, the comms people, I'm talking about these are people I know, Rebecca and Theo. And the teams that you work with, you have incredible teams that you're working with. Guys, you've done enough spinning. Rebecca, you've done enough spinning. You spin every day for the association. You guys are brilliant spin doctors. This episode is meant that you guys should have real conversations with your principals. Tell them that South Africa is now aware that you've been spinning for a long time. It's enough now. Change how the industry is seen, but don't just change how we see it, change it in reality on the ground. So everybody is now, we are moving into a space where the industry will not be owned by the entrepreneurs. It will not be owned by the entrepreneurs. Everybody who's going to be, except those who have real big fleets, majority of the people that are going to be owning the industry are going to be leasing their vehicles because the current fleet of vehicles is aging. And if it's aging, the only way to replace that, if you don't qualify for refinancing, is to lease it from somebody else. So the taxi industry is slowly moving into the hands of the banks, your SA Taxi. By design, it is moving into those spaces because if you don't qualify to be refinanced, you are sitting with a problem that it's either you're going to exit and recap or you're going to get into an unholy leasing agreement. That leasing agreement, towards the end, when you're about to finish it, they are going to find reasons why they must repossess that taxi. They will create stories they must repossess so that you continue become a slave to them. You know I'm telling the truth, and but guys, this episode in particular is to break down what you guys go through, the things that you see but don't talk about. There is no one single chairman. In fact, if you are a chairman in this day and age, and you still think that only your brain can work to save your association, your mind is in the wrong place. You need the support of everybody, including the children of those that you're leading with, because those kids are sometimes even more educated than you guys, and you have contributed. You guys, you have created doctors, lawyers, accountants, all of in the form of your children, but you don't use them. One man decides what happens. No, if chairman is not agreeing, it's not happening. Guys, it is time that you rethink the way you're doing things. I'm here to come and tell you this truth. You have idealized one person. In fact, there are those who are saying that I'm not going anywhere. I am not leaving this position. There are those that have been in that position for the longest time. In fact, some of them, if they were to leave that position, they would probably lose their lives because they've done so many wrong things. So this position is the only place where they can cover themselves and protect themselves from their previous deeds. But I'm here to liberate the drivers, the marshals, the operators, to say that you are either going to lose the taxi industry quiet or you're going to stand up and save it. In Zimbabwe, Mnangagwa just decided now that he's not done being a president. He decided that he's going to extend his period from 5 years or 6 years to 8 years for the president. There are chairmen that are trying to even change the constitution of their associations to accommodate them. There are people who really enjoy that the taxi industry remains so informal, because when it is formal, they will not be able to do the thing. So they are pushing back, they are fighting because they enjoy the mess. They benefit from the mess better. This is an episode that is done for you. You have the right. Chairman, there are members of your association who are unhappy. They are victimized by your own root chairpersons. No, so in the taxi industry, you have root committees. You have one association and you have sub-associations or subcommittees that are responsible for different routes. Each route has got its own management or administration. There are chairmen of route committees that are treating other operators like children. They own the routes, chairman. They own the routes. They decide who they take in and out. This industry is not going to continue like this. I have written to the public protector, and I know that something is coming there. I want to give it a fair time and space for the public protector to do what she wants to do. But I want to talk to the South African Police Service. The murders and conflicts in the taxi industry are a direct result of your behavior and how you are perceived. You connive, you work with taxi owners, You become friends to the chairmen when you are supposed to be protecting everyone in that. You have become closer to specific individuals in the taxi industry. And as a result, members in a particular association, there are classes of membership in one association. When you think that we are all members, there are those that are closer to the chairman, those that are closer to the police, that are closer to government officials, and yet you are all members of one association. I'm here to come and tell you, Chairman, that abantwana bakho in one association, and I'm talking everywhere. I'm talking Mamelodi, I'm talking here in Gauteng, different associations, Eastern Cape. The letters, I did this episode because, guys, everyone is complaining. Drivers are complaining. Because the route chairperson decided to do this. This one decided to remove. A couple of months ago, I dealt with the story in Botshabelo somewhere, Ntate Majeng. The story Ntate Majeng had to do with the route chairperson of that time. So I'm making an appeal today. I'm bringing these things to you not because I think that I sound better. But I'm bringing these things to you guys to say, please save the reputation of this industry, because it is through the reputation. Its reputation is so bad that even the banks are deciding to walk away. The reputation is so bad that no government official wants to help. Those that are coming in this space only come to take. They take. The police officers, they have seen the money. They come here, they take from you guys. You have become a cash cow and no longer a business. But this episode will not be a complete episode until we speak about what these two entities do, especially SANTACO, because it is the cancer. Why are both mother bodies? Because in the Eastern Cape, you still have mother bodies. When you're supposed to have one provincial body, I hope now things are better because at least there was an agreement amongst parties. I hope there's one. But in the Eastern Cape was the only one that had multiple other mother bodies. And I'm here to suggest that we are running a risky business. Conflicts can be avoided. Transit Ringas is a growing tribe. But we can do this better and faster if you smash that button, subscribe, and follow us across all social media platforms. Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Follow us everywhere. Let's have a conversation. It is time. I'm doing this episode because there's a child who has approached me and told me how they lost their father. And this child is out of university, unemployed, no form of income, and the family that used to own 15 vehicles today is struggling for bread. Because the association that the father belonged to failed to protect that family upon the passing of the father. This child says that we were mainly dependent on scholar transport, but we lost it all. But when we went to the association, in fact, the people were fighting who is taking over my father's taxis. And this is what's happening in multiple other associations. When somebody passes on, they sit there and they decide how do they share your property and nothing about that family. And thank you to those associations that stood up when somebody passed on and they protected the children, they protected the families, and there's a lot of them. That's why we have women in the taxi industry, because most of these women are actually widows that took over the business from their husbands that lost their lives, whether through a barrel of a gun or other means. But there are associations that have helped. But to those that are fighting and thinking about how do they take from the children, shame on you and woe unto you. Woe unto you that the tears, and I know that you have nothing, pilu aiyo, but the tears of those children, may they befall on you, and may you suffer the consequences of that unless you repent. I'm here to come and tell you that, because you need to have some sense. Something must tell you that this is wrong. But you have acted like you have no family, you have no children of your own, because you have become so heartless and brainless. Stop fighting over everything. The taxi industry is evolving. The problems within associations that has to do with succession. Guys, some of you, your entire association is managing an asset of 30, 40 million rand a month. As an association, you have 30, 40 million rand that you are administering, but you've not been able to convert that into something that makes sense. It is because you are blocking the minds and brains of those who know better than you. You are using your power. You are losing the actual value of the asset called 30, 40 million rand. Even when it belongs to different people, that 40 million is supposed to make you guys a talk of town. But you've lost that. Your vehicles are losing value. All your vehicles are not insured. Your drivers are not registered. Your vehicles are not maintained. The tires and everything is a mess. And yet it is a business. 40, 50 million rand every month. You stand like this, you are the chairman. You enjoy when you see others moving out, in and out, moving in and out. And kudos and big up to those, big up to those associations that have decided to buy into buses and all of that. Big up to you. Are you paying the people the dividends that they're supposed to get? Are you paying them what they're supposed to get? Or you always find a reason why the dividends cannot be paid? Are you reporting to your people? Or anything that comes from a chairman must go? Sala. I know that the patrollers, Toyota, South Africa, I need to have a conversation with you guys. Some of the vehicles that you guys have donated as patrol vehicles are actually involved in criminality. I want you to withdraw those vehicles and pull that donation away from the taxi industry or from the association that gets involved in actions of criminality using the vehicles that you have donated. Sometimes not donated, but highly discounted. You discount vehicles to ukatumsebenzi, but those vehicles are often involved in criminality, and you don't do anything about it. It is your brand, is your name. Yes, I know that they are buying from you, so you are appeasing them. Don't appease them when they do something wrong. It's a message to Toyota. I will come and tell you this in a meeting with you. I know you have a very healthy relationship with the taxi industry, but you need to wake up and stand up. Otherwise, the industry is getting obliterated. finishing to ashes. So let's stop the bus here. Let's rethink. And note, this is the episode. I'm sending it to you guys for you guys to have a conversation. Don't be a secretary, a treasurer in the association, the leadership of the association, and you are comfortable when you have nothing to do or nothing to say. I've been to an association. I don't want to call it by name, in the Jamestown, one of the biggest. I sat in a meeting with the executive committee of where everybody were equals. I have never felt, in fact, I must call it by name, CAPTA. I was in a meeting with CAPTA. I was sitting with the chairman, the secretary, the treasurer. I know that the association has got its own challenges. But I sat in a meeting with equal minds. And we were able to talk about very uncomfortable things. So, Chairman, are you controlling Imanie bucket? And Bashobat, no, not our chairman. And not because they were afraid. And I know, don't get me wrong, I know that there are issues that CAPTA still needs to work with. I know there are complaints about CAPTA in the East Rand, and I know all of those. I know. But it's one association that has said to me, Isaac, if there's an issue, come to us and speak to us. And I know, because remember, they are not always there. Because I went there and I went guns blazing. I said, the commuters are saying this about you, blah, 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 blah. They didn't say to me, who are you? They said, what can we do? Because they say, Isaac, we know violence. We have been in violence before. But things are different now. And I'm not here to promote. I'm just talking about my experience that time. Somebody might have something completely different about CAPTA. I don't care. I'm talking about my experience and how they received me. I know all the issues. We spoke about everything that made everybody uncomfortable. We spoke about the violence in Zonke Zizo. We spoke about the Faraday issue. We spoke about all the other things. But I can tell you, I have never in my experience have dealt with an association that was so open-minded. That's why they are my friends. And I can say it. They are my friends. We don't cross the boundaries. When I talk to them, I will never go and talk about another association. I always, and I want you guys to understand what my role is. My role is, I always, when I go in, even between the two associations that are fighting, my role is to find out what is it that government could have done to avoid violence. That's my interest. And when I can't find that, I walk away, because I can't find myself supporting a particular association against the other. My role is to be neutral and find out what is it that law enforcement can do to make sure that the situation is back to normal. That's where Transit Ringas. But when you come to us and you think that we are going to support you and we fight your battles, we don't fight battles of associations. We fight the battles of passengers. And we always look at what government does right and wrong. So I'm concluding this episode by saying, the time to rethink the taxi industry by its own people is now. I went to the SANTACO National Conference, elective conference, and I listened to someone I respect very much, who's been in the industry for far too long, and I've known them for long. AJ Mtembu, talking about the evolution of the taxi industry. I think it's time that you rethink what you guys are busy on or busy with. It's time that you sit back and have internal association-based conversations. As matters stand, you don't know what the actual value of your route is. You don't know the value of each permit or license. You don't know what that value is. It is not scientific. It is based on assumptions. So a lot of wrong things are happening within your associations, but because you don't have the power, you just keep quiet and you are slowly drowning. You can see with your check-in every day that you are drowning every day, but there is no place to complain. One day you're going to wake up, there'll be no check-in because your vehicle wouldn't have picked up anything. There are places where a vehicle is lucky to do a load or two per day. And yet they wake up every day. The driver must be paid, the vehicle must be paid. Guys, you are dying a slow death, and you're going to die in silence like cowards. I'm asking your children, Inabubaba, your children to hold you accountable because you are quiet and killing something that threatens their well-being. It's no longer about you, but the children that you have. And if you don't protect them, who else would? Wake up. The time is now. My name is Isaac. See you again next time.
Yo, en het rijmt.